Hey guys, this is MacKids202, and today I'm going to be going over how I made my video encoder. So I made an AVI video encoder for the iPhone that can take images and frame them basically into a file. So I have three images. One of them is of poop. This is a standard image of poop that many people find online. The second one is one of poop with part of it cut off, and the third one is one of poop with almost none left. Alright, I also have several WAV files here. This is a stereo WAV file, this is a compressed WAV file, a couple different types of WAV files. And my encoder, this is the code that uses my encoder, by the way. Basically, you can add frames to it, add UI images for frames, start recording to a file, set the frames per second, set the JPEG compression rate, and set the audio. Alright, so this is an app that sequences images, basically, into a file. So I'll build and go, just to show you what it really does. It'll open up and it's going to look pretty lame, but I'll show you what it actually does under the hood. So, we click test, now we can go into the console, and we can see it wrote to this file. So let's check this file out in Finder. Alright, here it is. Alright, so I don't know why anyone would want this file in particular, because it's kind of dumb, but, you know, you could use this to make a slideshow app, for instance, for the iPhone, and then you could make it so you can upload it to YouTube with your favorite music. All the frames you have to you add have to be the same size as my dad, so you're responsible for scaling that yourself. So here's a bit about how I did this. First of all, I write all the data myself. So we can just take a look here. Here's some of the data. The way you embed numbers in an AVI file is by using a C method. So you have to write the 4 bytes. They're actually the number, and so that's not that hard with NS data, stuff like that, casting. I also use Microsoft's website, actually, of all things, to get documentation on the AVI file structure. It's based on the RIF file structure. So the way it works is there are types of data called RIF and types of data called lists. So there's a list that's the header information, and there's a list that's the data. And the data is normally chunks, which are another type of thing, and those are all the different frames, or you can embed all the frames in one chunk. Depends how you want to do it. I embed all the frames, all the JPEG data in different chunks, and then I embed the audio in one chunk, because that's the most convenient for me, but there might be a more efficient way to do so the player can play it back better. There's also an optional way to index all the frames, but I don't feel that's really important. Most machines are fast enough to manage to not need that. I believe that the iPad can't play these because of that, so I might add that in the future. And even these notes really aren't enough. So I wrote a little program here in C called File Examine, and basically it lets me take a look at the binary data in any file. So like I said, integers are stored as 4 bytes. This is an option to read a number of bytes into an integer variable and print out the data, so that way it's really easy for me to look at this data. You can get the hexadecimal, never actually had to use that. You know, you can jump around, you can see where you're jumped to, you know. It's actually a very nice utility. Here's the compiled version. I'll just demonstrate something about this. So, I run this on AVI notes. I can just say read 4. So these are the first 4 bytes. I can J-3, and I can read 3 bytes. Alright. I can I4. That might actually be an integer. Yeah, I think that's supposed to be an integer. Anyway, so this is like the raw data of a pages file. Here's all the hex for it I just dumped. So this is my little program I wrote to do something like that. And these are the output. I can also change the audio to any type of WAV file, because I do also read the WAV file myself, so it has to be a WAV file. But there's a nice API Apple made, so I'm going to change that up later. If I type small here, You run this. Alright. And actually, we don't. And it's a little quieter. It's not stereo, and that's quite annoying. We can also play a gigantic file, but that's pretty slow, and that's why I'm one concern about this whole encoder, is that big audio files like songs are not gonna do well in this kind of situation. So I might have to improve that as well. Alright, so still wrote it instantly, pretty much. And by the way, it live encodes everything except for the audio. So now the sound would be longer if the video isn't. Another important thing is that you have to remember to cut off the audio. So I learned about how RAFF files work, AVI files work, and even WAV files. And I'm pretty proud of myself for this. So if you guys want any tips, I'm not going to give the source code out, but if you guys want any tips on how to make it yourself, I'm more than open to help you guys. But Dr. Touch, who's a nice, cool guy, he actually has something like this that Chris Harris made. Chris Harris is another programmer for the iPhone. And I'll, in the description, just have a link over to Dr. Touch's site. His actual name is Oliver Drobnik. And you guys can check out his as well. His works the same way as mine, under the hood and from the user input. It just costs money. So, anyway, this is my AVI encoder. So thanks for watching, Mac Kids and One. Subscribe, and goodbye.